Hey retro community, welcome to another video. Today we're going to change it up a little bit from the past few weeks where I've been doing a lot of retro computer stuff, and we're going to go back to gaming. So we're going to go over the Atari 2600. Wait, what? We just did this like a few weeks ago, right? Or a couple months ago or something like that, right? Well, yes, but we're going to be doing something different, and that has to do with what's in this envelope here. Well, I attempted to try and mod it. As you'll see in the video, it didn't quite go as expected. Not only did I suffer from several camera issues where it would just cut out for whatever reason. I don't know if it was overheating or what. And then the camera battery eventually died, and I had to run up and grab my personal daily cell phone and record. And apparently it only records in 50-minute batches. There's probably some setting I can change. I know I don't use it that much for recording videos, so I just haven't touched any of the settings yet. And on top of that, the sound kept cutting out too. Though I am doing what I can to correct it post-edit. Not sure how it'll turn out. I apologize though for all these technical issues. And that's on top of the technical issues I have with the console itself, such as the fact that the system board revision seems to be different than what the instructions show. So I had to do a little bit more digging on the internet and ran into some issues with that because there isn't a whole lot of information apparently on my revision of the Heavy Sixer. So fun times. Anyway, let's get on with the video. But first, go over a little bit. The Atari 2600, its video capabilities were very limited, mainly for cost reasons, but also because of the fact that at the time people only had televisions that had RF inputs. They did not have AV capabilities. I mean, some TVs did, but the average person didn't have that. So you plug it in between your antenna and the television, and you flip a little switch on the RF modulator, and that's that. So you sit there and the quality just isn't very good at all. You kind of just dealt with it, right? And I don't know if it's going to show up very good on here or not. You can see it's kind of fuzzy in places and there's noise, and yeah, just not good overall. So what we're going to be doing today is performing a composite video mod. I ordered this kit, and you'll probably end up seeing this kit again in the January pickups video, but for all intents and purposes, this is the official showing of it. This is a mostly pre-assembled kit. It already has the PCB assembled and has all the components on there, transistor, resistors, but I still have to do some soldering and I have to do some modification to the case. It came with the AV jacks and it came with Cat 5e cable, and the wiring is good enough for this mod. So we're going to attempt to install this and get it working, which it shouldn't be too difficult. There aren't too many things to solder. I just have to solder these onto the motherboard of the Atari 2600, and then these go to the jacks in the back. You'll notice there's only one audio out, although they gave two jacks, and well, the Atari can only output mono audio. So we're basically going to take this and split it between left and right. It'll still be mono, but it'll come out of both speakers. Some TVs can take one audio source and split it internally. Some can't. AV receivers, things like that. So it'll just be better just to do it that way. So we're going to take this guy back apart, and we're going to go ahead and get this going. So yeah. So I don't know, apparently camera stopped recording again because I just don't have any luck, I guess, with technology, which is super ironic, but whatever. So I don't know where it left off at. So this is the heavy sixer because it's got 6 switches, and the chassis it comes in is, well, it's heavy. So the all newer Atari 2600s came with 4 switches. So we're going to go ahead and remove the switchboard, I guess. I'm not sure what this is considered. I'm sure there's an official term for it, but I'm going to call it a switchboard because that's what I'm calling it. This should now separate. And that's that. I apologize, the camera keeps cutting out. I don't know what was lost or not, but again, so I was saying before is one of these resistors have to be removed. And once the mod's installed, the potentiometer will have to be tweaked because right now it's adjusted for RF output, and it'll have to be tweaked for composite. If you don't, the colors won't quite look right. And when you install this mod, you're going to kind of have to play with this until you get the colors to your desire, which means that you can't necessarily put this all back together yet, although I believe you can access this even with the shielding on. Yeah, so you can access it through that hole, but it'll be easier just to do it this way. Although, again, this is, warning, anything you do is your own responsibility. I'm not responsible if you break something, blah, 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 blah. So, pull up these instructions here. I'm sorry, it's not a resistor, it's a transistor that needs to be removed. It's Q202 on the sixer, which is this guy right here, all 3 legs. They're saying just to cut them, and that's fine. If you want to desolder them, you can do that too. Maybe I will try to desolder them. If it doesn't work, then we'll cut the leads. Let me get my vise. And as always, we'll use a little bit of flux. Now the 3 leads that we need to remove are right here. They're kind of close together. Maybe that's why they suggested just cutting them. We'll see. If this doesn't work, we'll go with their plan. But I would prefer to desolder it first. And got my little manual pump, some desoldering braid just in case, and of course my soldering iron, which should be nice and hot at this point. This is a time where a desoldering gun would be really beneficial. Keep meaning to get one, and I keep putting it off. And there's more solder on this side. Gotta be very careful though. That lead is just about out. It's just this one here. There. And it's still intact, just in case. Now, I don't think they say anything about filling the joints back up with solder, but I think I'm going to do that anyway. Just because. By the way, it does take a steady hand to solder, which I don't have the most steadiest hand out there. So another reason why not to necessarily follow my examples, because of the fact that I need to do things a little bit differently. I need to do it my way. So nothing is bridged. Doesn't look like any traces were damaged, so we should be okay. Let's go and see. what these instructions say to do next. They say with the switchboard that I have to again remove this board, it looks like, which is going to be fun since it's soldered directly into the RF shielding, which is going to act as a heat sink, but we will have to make do, right? This is going to be too wide, I believe, or just wide enough. I really only need here, so maybe we'll do this instead. It's a pretty flimsy board, so be very careful with it. And they're saying again just to cut the 5 pins. To cut the 5 pins going into the RF modulator circuit board. Break up the small circuit board attached and throw it out, but if you want, you can bend the pins up out of the way and leave the small circuit board attached. So what they're saying to do, suggesting, is to cut the leads or desolder them or what have you, and leave the circuit board attached. I wonder if it'll be removed, if I can remove it though. Without a desoldering gun, it's going to be almost impossible to desolder the RF. We're just going to clip them. I don't want to risk removing all the pads because then I'll have to, I don't want to have to dodge wire or anything. So we'll just do what they suggested and clip them if I can get in there. Although oddly enough, their instructions on the 6 switcher shows that there's 5 connections on here and not 3, which is strange. Is this another revision of the 6 switcher? Yeah, this pad here is in a little trouble, but if I don't touch any more of it, it should be okay. But yeah, according to the instructions, there are 5 pins, but this only has 3, and this is a heavy 6er. Maybe it's not, maybe it's a light 6er, maybe the case was switched out at some point, I don't know. Because the other thing that I noticed is that in their image, the connector for the RF is actually on the board itself, and I'm guessing that the 5 leads then go to, 2 of them go to connector for ground and video output. So these more than likely are going to be audio and video and ground, but they're not labeled, and this is going to be a problem because I don't know which is which, because they've got them labeled here with the 5 pins that they have shown in their example. That's going to be tough to see, but they've got it hooked up far left, skip the next one, then the next 2, and then skip the last one. But I don't have that on this board, and they don't have this on here. So I've found a forum post on Atari Age where someone had a similar switchboard where it only had the 3 pins on it instead of the 5, and someone replied back, yeah, well, pin 1 is ground, pin 2 is 5 volt, pin 3 is video, but they're not labeled pin 1, 2, or 3. However, because this one here is attached to the ground plane here, this is pin 1, so here's 5 volt, and that makes sense because this is actually connected to this capacitor here. And so this is going to have to be video. The other thing that I will have to do, more than likely, which I kind of don't want to, but obviously I have to have a spot for the AV ports. Now, since the RF port's not going to be used anymore because I'm just not. I mean, I've got this, but if you look inside, got this structural piece in the way, so I can't easily get the other two connections unless that stays video. I unfortunately go through this text here, and I put audio, the audio here, or I can do it on this side. We'll see. I may not want to drill any holes in it though either for now, at least for the purposes of testing. I may just try to feed everything through the RF cable hole and go from there. But anyway, the next step is to assemble the board, which it's already partially assembled, as I said. I have to get some wiring done. And it's very, very tiny. Unfortunately, this is not going to work. So I don't have helping hands yet. I'm working on getting those. Should hopefully have them within the next week or so. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to do this here, and I'm not going to be able to zoom in and keep the quality, unfortunately, but I'll try to post some photos of the wiring that's completed. As I said before, the kit came with some Cat 5 wiring for it, which is more than enough. The gauge is more than enough for it to work. So I'm going to use these colors. I'm going to use blue for the 5-volt, orange for video, both in and out, obviously, the blue-white for green, and orange-white for audio. No, that doesn't match up with the colors what they typically are, but these are the wires that I've got, and I'm just going to deal with it. So the way, first of all, the way this is going to work, and I'm all over the place today, is, you know, the 5-volt ground, the video are going to come in here, and the audio is going to actually come from the main board itself. And it would be nice if I could remove this, because then, but whatever. This here doesn't seem to attach to anything. There's no screw holes to mount it anywhere, so it's going to, I guess it's just going to sit. Maybe what I'll do is I'll get some double-sided tape and I'll mount it maybe on top here, or actually what I'll probably do is mount it below here somewhere, since there's not much going on, or maybe I'll mount it up here since there's nothing going on here. But we will be using double-sided tape. So I won't need too long of a cable, but let's see. 5-volt is coming from the middle, so it'll effectively do this, and we'll wrap on the side here. So okay. So we said blue is going to be 5 volts, so we'll get this prepared first. Flux, flux, flux. Maybe I've got these fumes already. There are so many people. Well, there's probably not many people, if anyone watching this video to begin with. But if you are, and you know what you're doing, you're screaming at me right now, man, you're doing this all wrong, and you were right, but I don't care. It's not the right attitude to have. Says who? This will be difficult, but so orange was going to be video. And this is where the camera ultimately dies, and I have to grab my cell phone and record, and so there's some missing footage, but it doesn't matter because it's just me soldering the wires onto the little composite mod board and then soldering them onto the switchboard. You've seen soldering videos before, I'm sure, so I'm just going to focus now on the main system board and getting the audio connected. Oh, and apparently the microphone wasn't plugged in all the way. So there's no audio for probably the majority of the rest of this video. So it's just going to be a fast forward montage, and I'll add text when necessary. And it's at this point that I realize that I have absolutely no color. Everything is in black and white. Not sure what happened. I followed the instructions as best as I could. Maybe I didn't need to clip that transistor or that resistor for this specific model. I'm not sure. I also didn't capture any video of the actual black and white screen, so I just took a quick photo of it. With all the camera issues I've been having, I didn't want to keep going anymore. And because of this issue, I figured I would just stop the project right where it's at, reach out online and see if anyone has any ideas. So I'm waiting to hear back from people. Hopefully someone will comment either on this video or my Twitter post or something, and maybe they'll have an idea. And I'm going to keep doing some additional research to see if I can't find what's causing it. I did adjust the potentiometer, why can't I say that right? To see if I needed to adjust the color on it or not, and it didn't seem to make a difference at all. Also seeing a little bit of video noise on there, but it could just be how I have everything temporarily wired up right now. I won't know until it's more finalized, but I don't want to obviously drill into my case and mount these RCA plugs if I can't actually do this mod on this specific model. So I'm going to, hold off. I will have a follow-up video to this. Sorry to end it this way. I did not intend for all the technical issues with the equipment and with the console and everything, so apologize. But if you like this video anyway, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't yet. Didn't like the video, and I don't blame you, go ahead and hit the thumbs down. But please leave a comment below as to what you didn't like about it so I can use it to make improvements in the future. But please don't leave comments like, well, you didn't finish the mod, or it didn't work, or technical failures. I do appreciate constructive critical comments, though. Thank you for that. But either way, thanks all, and I'll catch you later.